If it's not important to you, then you're not going to do it. So if moving abroad is really that important for you, you will find a way to do it. Hi guys, in today's video, I wanted to share something that just came to mind, and that's really, really important. And based on the recent event, like yesterday, there are some changes in politics here in the US. I'm just going to say that for now, but you know what I mean. And so for a lot of people, there's this sense of, oh my gosh, panic, right? And I'm more in the sense of, okay, let's be strategic about that. What does it really mean and what can I do about it? I don't worry about the things that I cannot control. And the things that I can control, I can be more objective about these things and more strategic about these things. So let's talk about that when it comes to your Blaxit, when it comes to moving abroad. What can you do because it's under your control? And so you don't have to worry so much about the politics and the things that you cannot really control that much. I mean, you can still go vote and do your part, but in the grand scheme of things, there's not so much you can do when it comes to US politics, okay? Let's just be real. So I have a few notes here that I'm going to share with you and really to help you plan that Blaxit and how can we all leave within the next 6 months. So how can we make this Blaxit possible by the inauguration, okay? And so there are 2 points that I really wanted to emphasize in this video. The first thing is that we need to have a sense of urgency. And the second point is that we need to have a plan, okay? So it's not just urgency and then panic, wow, what are we gonna do? But really having a plan. The sense of urgency, why? Because we need to understand, why do we want to move abroad in the first place? Like the reasons why you wanted to move abroad before the pandemic might not be the same reason why you want to move abroad right now, okay? And that's totally fine. That's okay. But you really need to be clear on why is it important and why is it meaningful, because the things that are important and the things that are meaningful to us, those are the things that we focus on, okay? Just look around in your life. The things that really matter to you, you pay attention to those things. You spend money on those things. You spend energy on those things. You focus your time and energy on those things. But the things that don't really matter, you really don't, right? So what are the things that are really important to you? Why do you want to move abroad? So it's not just a volatile emotion and just going with the flow because you're in panic or because you don't feel good. I mean, those can still be good reasons, right? Not feeling good, but really looking at, okay, what is the source? What is the core? And so that you don't move those problems into your next destination, okay? So once that you're clear on that and you really have a sense of urgency and you're really aware of why it's important to you, not for everybody else, but to you, the real reason why it's important for you to make that Blaxit in the next 6 months, then you can go into the second phase, which is, okay, what is the plan? How do we make that happen? And this is where we're getting practical. So we're going to look at the logistics part of things. We're going to look at the financial parts of things and even the relationship part of things, okay? And so I'm mentioning a lot of things in this video, but some of them maybe you've already covered. Some of them might be a little more complicated for you, okay? So, but I wanted to make sure that I still address these things. So when it comes to logistics, well, have you decided on your destination yet? Have you decided on your new home? Is it someplace where you're going to go temporarily? For example, you're going to spend 3 months there and then come back and then go back and then come back, right? Maybe on the tourist visa or something like that. Or is it a place where you're like, I'm out, like deuces, you're not gonna see me again. I'm just gonna come back like maybe on Christmas or holidays or maybe family functions or things like that. Or just not at all, right? Maybe that's your type of Blaxit that you're making. That's how you're moving abroad, is like forever, okay? And so with that being said, you have to understand what kind of immigration status you're going to have. Like what kind of visa can you use? Where can you go based on your nationality, based on your passport? How long can you stay there? What kind of visa are you going to be able to apply for, and what are the requirements for the right visa for you, okay? So you have to do your research and you have to get clear on what you can do. And here's my advice. It might not sound like maybe the wisest thing to do, but because this is a short timeline, I'm going to say don't overthink it. Even if you cannot make the full Blaxit, like I'm out forever, I'm never going to come back, that requires a lot more planning than somebody who's going to be out for 3 months and then going to come back and then 3 months again. It's okay if you just go on a tourist visa and then come back, just as long as you're out of the territory, and that works too, okay? So don't think that it has to be a full pledge, moving everything out, and like a full move, you might not have to do that. It could be a temporary move where you just go out for 6 months or 3 months, and then you come back for a few days, for a week, and then you go back again. So you really don't have to pack up your whole life in order for you to be away. That could be the solution for you. So what are you going to do with all your stuff? All your things, are you going to put them into storage? Find the pricing for all these things. Are you going to leave them in your home? Are you going to rent your home? Are you going to sell your home? Right? All these things can take a lot of mental space, a lot of research, it depends on you. Maybe you're just going to be like, you know what? Everything has to go. I'm out, right? Maybe you're giving yourself a month to do all this and then you do it. Or, like I said, as the alternative, you can just not have to spend that much time on this thing and say, you know what? Let's just be out. Let's just be out for 3 months and then we come back. Like, it's like going on a vacation, but you're not really going on a vacation. You're actually moving and you're coming back every time, like little by little. Like, if you're not going to a destination where the plane ticket is like super expensive, you can afford to come back. Like, let's say you're going to Colombia or you're going to Mexico. The ticket prices are pretty affordable. So maybe for $200, you can have a round trip ticket, at least from Houston, Texas. That's usually the case. And then you can afford to come back, right? So you really don't have to get everything situated before you head out. Now, when it comes to the finances, which is really, really important, how are you going to make that happen? Okay. Are you relying on your job? Can you do your job while you're abroad? Definitely don't leave if you're not allowed to work remotely. Okay. Otherwise, you might lose your job. And that's not something that we want to do. If that's not something you want to do, right? So if you want to keep your job, asking your employer if you can work remotely, maybe it's just temporarily for 3 months and then come back, right? That could be an option. Or finding a new job, a new remote job, like a completely remote job where you can work from anywhere, not just at home in the US, but like anywhere around the world. Are you going to rely on your savings? Are you going to rely on a pension? Are you going to rely on your investments? Are you going to rely on your business income, for example? If that's your choice, which is one of my choices as well. And if you don't really know how to get started with that, if you're like, oh man, I would really love to rely on a business, I really want to launch my business. Finally, I've been talking about it, thinking about it, but I really don't know where to start. I have some resources for you that you can check out in the description of this video. Some are paid, some are free. Go check them out in the description of this video. And the last part of your plan is when it comes to relationships. Are you married? Do you have kids, grown kids, small kids like me? Your parents, your siblings, like how is that dynamic going to work? Can you actually afford to leave? Maybe you're taking care of an aging parent, and so maybe now you can think about hiring somebody to take care of them, right? So what is that whole dynamic going to work? So think about that before you make your decision. Another point that is also important is at your destination. Do you have a soft landing? Do you have friends and family at that destination already? Do you have people who can host you while you're looking for an apartment or a house and where you can settle? Okay, those are also important points that can also help you make that transition a lot easier. And for all of these points, when it comes to the logistics, when it comes to the finances, and when it comes to your relationships, I want you to break it down, because just what we just mentioned now, it's still very general. We need to break those down into objectives and deadlines. So when it comes to your finances, for example, by when do you need to apply to get a job? By when do you need to find a job? By when do you need to talk to your boss? By when do you need to start your business? By when do you need to make this certain amount of money so that you're comfortable with the money that you're making on a recurring basis in order for you to move? We want to be as practical and as prepared as possible. And I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to myself, right? This is something that I'm doing right now. I'm doing a whole reset on 2024 and what I want the rest of 2024 to look like for us in our Blaxit, because there has to be a sense of urgency. If we're just complacent and we're like, well, yeah, that would be good to move, it would be good to do the Blaxit and all that, well, it really might not happen. Or next thing you know, it's been 3 years and you haven't moved yet. So it's not because you want to panic or anything like that. You still want to be rational in your decision, but you really need to have a sense of urgency. You need to have deadlines, and you need to be aggressive with those deadlines. You need to have accountability so that you know exactly what you need to do by what date, and have somebody you can exchange with. That could be a sisterhood, an accountability group. That could be your spouse. That could be family members. That could be friends. But at the end of the day, you really want to have a clear plan. And this is what I encourage you to do. If you want accountability to build your business, again, I invite you to check out the resources that I have in the description of this video. I have a membership where we meet every single week to co-work together so that we can grow our businesses. And I also have a course that shows you what to focus on in order to launch your business within the next 30 days. So as I said, all these resources are in the description of this video. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. I would love to get your thoughts of, do you feel this sense of urgency? And also, are you putting a plan into place? And that is really what's important, because you just don't want to have like the sense of urgency and then not do anything. You need to execute a plan that will work for you. My plan is not your plan. Your plan is not my plan, but we both need to have a plan, okay? So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, share it with a friend who might be interested in this topic. And as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of my other videos just like this one. Until next time, bye.